everyone, today I am reviewing the Too Faced Chocolate Bar Palette. Woohoo! There's been a lot of talk about this palette. I know I did a tutorial already on my other channel with this, so I definitely wanted to follow up and give you my full review on the product. It comes in a box like this that really makes you think of the outer wrapping of a chocolate bar. And then the palette itself is kind of a metal texture and definitely has the look of a chocolate bar. And you open it up, there's a mirror on the inside, and then all these shadows. The names are on a little sheet that goes over the top, which I prefer when the shades are on here just so I know what the shadows are. When I'm doing a tutorial, you know what I'm talking about, but I don't know. Part of me thinks that if it helped the palette stay as compact in size as it is, not having them written out everywhere, then I'd rather have a smaller palette compared to extra space taken up to put the words, if that makes sense. You're seeing a variety of finishes in here. You've got some matte shades, some metallic shades, some colors that just have a little bit of shimmer in them, but overall, it's a really, really neutral palette. And I know I said right off the bat that this reminded me of the Too Faced Natural at Night palette and the Too Faced Natural Eye palette. Just at a glance. I hadn't actually compared them side by side yet. But when my buddy Kristen was over, we looked at everything side by side. We even swatched any shade that looked remotely comparable. And actually, there are a lot of differences between those palettes. It's like the overall theme, you know, the neutrals and some of these burgundy shades made me think Natural at Night, but there's actually no shade overlap. This palette, by the way, also does smell like chocolate. Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer has that lightly sweet chocolatey scent, and this palette definitely has that too. I love the mattes in here. I love the selection of shades that they chose to make matte here with like your matte cream, a couple of matte browns here. This is a matte shade, also getting a matte really, really dark brown. And for today's look, I am going to include a little demo in this video, but I did like a very simple all matte look using this, and this one. And then my other tutorial, if you're interested, on my other channel, I use the gold and the burgundy, which look very pretty together. I think I mentioned this when I talked about the Joy to the Girls palette, but there are some shades, and I think you can almost detect them just by looking, but certain shades are going to be a little bit gritty to the touch. Like this shade right here, you can tell there's a lot of sparkle in that, and to touch it, you're going to feel not necessarily that really soft, creamy feel, but something that's a little more gritty. As you can see, the pigmentation's still fabulous, but it's just going to have a little different texture for you. And then I think some of the softest textures are like these metallic shades. Also, the matte shades just have a really nice kind of buttery feel to them as well. But I really don't have any complaints about the kinds of shades that were thrown in here. I don't feel like I use this palette thinking, gosh, if we just had that one shade or some other kind of shade. You just tend to go toward browns and taupes. This is a fun palette to have because it gives you a lot of takes on that classic brown neutral look. I think if you like your neutral palettes to have more pops of color, or you just like more colorful palettes in general, I mean, this is a neutral, basic kind of palette. And also, if you mainly try to stick to mattes, there are a lot of great mattes in here. You're definitely getting some shimmery shades as well, but they're not quite as over-the-top, shimmery, flaky, sparkly as some of the shadows I've seen in other Too Faced palettes. You know what I mean? I feel like Too Faced tends to always have in their palettes, you know, those one or two shades that just seem over the top, sparkly, flaky, like they go on kind of sheer, but it just looks like a bunch of sparkle. There's not really anything like that in this palette. As for the look I'm wearing today, just real quickly, I'll talk you through what I did. I put the matte cream shade all over the, I don't know, first 2/3 of my lid. And I took this kind of cool medium brown and I patted that on the outer part of my lid, got it into my crease, and then went in with a fluffier brush just to get a more diffused application of that shade. And then I took this even lighter brown, a little bit softer shade, and I went over the border of that just to make it really, you know, nice and soft. For my highlight, I went back to the cream shade and just did that right under my brow, and then under the eye, I used the cool brown again, just under the outer part of the lower lash line, and then went inward with the other light brown all the way in. If you really want to get your hands on this palette and feel the shadows for yourself, maybe check it out at an Ulta or a Sephora store, but I just think it's a fantastic neutral color selection and selection of finishes as well. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.